DeepSeek just cut their API costs in half. But here is what everyone seems to be missing. This is not just about cheaper AI. This fundamentally changes how every SaaS company should be thinking about pricing strategy. And I am about to show you 3 ways to turn this cost reduction into a competitive advantage that your competitors won't see coming. I was reading this TechCrunch piece about DeepSeek's new sparse attention model, and while everyone is focused on the technical breakthrough, as a pricing strategist, I see something completely different. This is a textbook example of how infrastructure costs drive pricing strategy, but most SaaS founders will miss the opportunity entirely. Let me break down what's really happening here. For years, AI-powered features have been the premium add-on in SaaS, the thing you charge extra for because the costs were so high. We have seen 44% of SaaS companies charging separately for AI features, and that made sense when your variable costs would eat your entire margin. But when a major provider cuts cost by 50% overnight, that's not just a cost reduction, it's a market disruption simply waiting to happen. Here's a strategic opportunity most will miss. When infra costs drop this dramatically, you have 3 distinct paths, and choosing the wrong one could cost you millions. Path 1, simply pocket the margin. Sounds tempting, but it's actually the worst choice. Path 2, cut prices proportionally. Better, but still missing the real opportunity. Path 3, completely reimagine your pricing model. That's where the real money is. Now let me explain the regulatory and competitive dynamics at play here. DeepSeek is not just competing on cost. They are forcing a market reset. When one provider cuts cost by 50%, it creates what we call a pricing cascade. Other providers have to respond. But here's the key. They can't all respond the same way. OpenAI has brand power. Anthropic has safety features. Google has integration advantages. This cost reduction forces each player to double down on their personal differentiation. Now, for SaaS companies using these APIs, this creates an unprecedented opportunity. Remember, McKinsey found that AI variable costs can be substantial, sometimes even 30 to 40% of your cost structure. Now, when that drops by half, you don't just save money, you unlock entirely new business models. Here is where it gets really interesting from a psychological perspective. Customers have already anchored on current AI pricing. They expect to pay premium for AI features. But what if instead of cutting prices, you dramatically increased usage limits? Jasper AI did exactly this when LLM costs dropped. They went from usage caps to unlimited generation. Same price, 10x the value perception. That's the kind of strategic thinking that builds billion-dollar companies. But there's a second psychological principle at play here. The abundance mindset shift. When AI was expensive, customers used it sparingly. Obviously, they would think twice before generating that report or running that analysis. When you remove those psychological barriers by offering generous limits at the same price point, usage simply explodes. And here is the kicker. Increased usage drives stickiness, which drives then retention, which eventually drives LTV. Now, let's talk implementation strategy. Now, if you are a SaaS company watching this unfold, here is your playbook. First, don't rush to cut prices. Instead, map out your current AI cost structure. What percentage of your COGS come from AI infra? If it's over 20%, this is a massive opportunity for you. Second, identify your usage patterns. Are customers actually hitting limits? Are they rationing their usage? This data tells you whether to increase limits, add features, or entirely restructure. The companies seeing 21% growth are using hybrid models, combining subscription with usage-based elements. This cost reduction makes hybrid models even more powerful. Third, consider the competitive positioning opportunity. While everyone else is having a price war, you could be the company that says, hey, we are keeping our prices the same, but now you get our advanced AI analyst feature that was previously enterprise only. That's how you win on value, not price. Fourth, think about market expansion. Features that were previously too expensive for your SMB tier might now just be profitable. This is not just about serving existing customers better, it's about expanding your addressable market. Here is what most people don't understand about infra cost reductions. They think linearly. Costs go down, prices go down. But markets really don't work that way. Markets work on perception, positioning, and psychology. The winners will be the companies that use this cost reduction to fundamentally reimagine their value proposition. Let me give you a concrete framework you can implement today. Take your current AI-powered features and divide them into 3 buckets. Bucket number 1, features that were barely profitable at old cost structures. These These become your new standard features. Bucket 2, features that were solidly profitable. These become your volume plays. Same price, 5 to 10x the usage. Bucket 3, features you couldn't afford to build before. These now become your premium tier. The companies that will win are not the ones that cut prices fastest. They are the ones that recognize this inflection point and use it to reset market expectations. Remember, SaaS growth leaders are already using hybrid pricing models. This cost reduction makes these models even more powerful. If you only remember one thing from this analysis, remember this: infra cost reductions are strategic opportunities disguised as operational improvements. The question is not whether to pass savings to customers. The question is how to use those savings to build a moat your competitors simply can't cross. I am Akhil from Monetizely. If you are wrestling with how to position your AI features in this new cost structure, drop a comment with your specific situation. I read every single one and I will analyze the most interesting pricing challenges in future videos. And if you want to see how I would restructure your entire pricing model around these new economics, let's talk.